What's up? So this statement here, there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. This is what we're going to talk about here. And this is a very empowering one. At least it seems for people. And I would notice that because in one of my roles at one point, I would pick up the phone and I would call people. And we would talk about this mental health service that someone could buy and someone could learn from, and they could become certified in the understandings. And there was a test. And, there was such a concern, will I pass? And when you would tell this statement, which was, we believe there was no such thing as failure, there's only feedback, you could see, and as I explained it, you could see the release over these people. Just this, okay, right? So very empowering statement. There's no such thing as failure, only feedback. Now, what does that mean? So first off, you want to look at the idea of failure. What does failure mean to you? For most people, failure means the inability to gain something that you wanted to gain, right? I failed at the attempt to make XYZ happen. So if you look at something and you realize when you look at failure in this act of I didn't gain what I wanted, by definition, if you were to stop there, then you could look at that as failure. Man, I didn't get what I wanted. But what most people don't realize is perhaps it's not a 1 attempt, 2 attempt, 10 attempt kind of thing. I mean, there's so many stories, right? Edison and the light bulb, how many attempts? 409, right? WD-40 was the 40th attempt to create this solution, right? There is no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. So what does this mean? This means that if you take an action and the action isn't to what you acquired it to be, then that is still information. That is still gained learning. It is not, I think it was Edison who said, I think 10,000 attempts to make a light bulb. Something tells me it was a little exaggerated, right? But whatever. So, personal opinion. So anyway, so he says, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I learned 9,999 times how not to make a light bulb. And this is truth, right? If you take an action and that action doesn't deliver the results you want, you at least know that action isn't a good action. And that's information. And if you take that information and you continue with the learnings, how is that failure? It isn't. So then you can say, well, failure is stopping, right? If I were to stop the learning, if he would have, in the WD-40 case, if he would have been WD-39 and stopped, that's failure. Well, sometimes, and this is very helpful when you can learn to read the energy of life and you can kind of get those knowings, those ahas, like, I can, intuition, what people call, right? Sometimes you got to listen. And if the energy isn't there, if it's blocked, then it's not the right time. So quitting or pausing or stopping isn't necessarily a failure. It's just paying attention to the signs. So when you really look at it, there is no such thing as failure because it's all information.